Hey, what's up everybody? Today we are doing expansions, expanding brackets. So this is kind of the beginning of algebra. It can be a little bit tricky sometimes, but if it's something that you have difficulties with, then I recommend you watch this video because it's going to help you a ton. And hopefully you'll do super well at school in mathematics. Go ahead and watch the video. All right, so before I show you the worksheet in full, I just wanted to run through the 3 bits which I've put at the top for you. And those are things which are going to help you to do algebra a little bit better. And instead of trying to do the whole thing at once, I think it's really important to separate things. And so perhaps you can do this when you do your mathematics. You think about step 1, is my result positive or negative? And then you put the minus first, or you put the plus first so that you know if it's positive or negative. And then you deal with the numbers. So the numbers typically are in front of the variables. So instead of having like 3a and trying to multiply that immediately by something else, the number in front of a is a 3. So deal with the numbers. So if you have 3 times 2, then you do that first. You say, okay, that's 3 times 2, that's a 6, and I've dealt with it and it's done. And then number 3 is variables in ABC order. You see that on the top right, VAR in ABC order. So that means that if you have like ABs, you need to say it's AB. You don't say BA. Or if you have CA, you need to reorganize it and say, oh, it's not CA, it's AC. So we always put variables in alphabetical order. And then there's a little thing that you need to know as well, which is that when you do A times A, you get A squared. So if you do A times B, you get AB, but if you do A times A, you get A squared. So if you follow those rules, it should be pretty straightforward. I'm going to let you do the worksheet. Hopefully you've learned enough at school to manage to do this. I'm going to put my face on the side of the camera here on the side of the video. Go ahead and do the worksheet. Pause the video, try it out. If you don't know how to do it, then maybe watch the first four examples and then pause the video again and try and do the examples. Good luck! You got this. All right, so I hope it wasn't too tricky and that you managed to do it. So let's do it together just to make sure that you're okay. So in the first question, I have A times A, which is A squared. So I'm just going to say that A squared, and then I've got A times negative 4, and a positive times a negative is a negative number, so minus 4A. So A squared minus 4A. In the second question, I have 2a times a. So 2 times 1 is 2. And then a times a is a squared. So notice how I'm doing the numbers separately from the variables. So 2a squared. And then a positive times a negative is a negative. So I do that first. So I don't have to think about the whole thing. 2 times 3 is 6. And then I have a little a hanging out. So minus 6a. In the next question, I have a times a, which is a squared, and then I have a times negative 6, so that's a negative number, and it'll be minus 6a, so minus 6a. Okay, the next question says y times 4y, so the number in front is 4, so I just write 4, and then y times y is going to be y squared, so 4y squared, and then a positive times a negative, so minus, and then 10 is the number in front, and then y. Okay, so far so good. Then I have 3p's times 2p's in question E. Well, 3 times 2 is 6, so I write that first, 6. And then I have p squared. And then a positive times a negative is a negative. And then 3 times 6 is 18, so 18. And then p, minus 18p. The next question says r times r minus 2. So I'm just going to say that that's r squared. And then if you're comfortable with this, I can say minus 2r. Minus 2r. So make sure my minus is big enough. Maybe I'll make it a little bit bigger. Minus 2r. Good. Okay, the next question says z times 5. Well, you still put the number in front. So you still go 5z or 5z. And then minus times plus is positive, is negative, sorry, so minus. And then z times z is z squared. So it's 5z minus z squared. The next question is k times k, which is k squared, and then minus 1 times k. You could say minus 1k, but typically when we have 1 of something, we just say minus k. So we're just going to say it's k squared minus k. The next question says y times 1. Again, we don't say 1y, we just say y. and then positive times negative is negative, and then y times y is y squared. Okay, so far so good. Then we have 5x's times 3x's, which is 15x. So I'm going to move back a little bit. So I'm not going to write the equal sign because I don't know that I have enough space. 15x squared. And then a positive times a negative is a negative, and then 2 times 5 is 10 minus 10x. Okay. Next question says 7p. Maybe if I stay here, this way I don't block the screen. 7 times 2 is 14, so I've got 14, and then p times p, which is p squared. And I'll have minus 4 times 7, which is minus 28 p's. So there you go. This is a 28. Maybe I'll make sure that that's clear. 28. Ooh, so small. 28 p's. And then q times q is q squared over here. So q squared, and then minus q. Okay, so far so good. Question 4. Doesn't change anything that the number is afterwards. This means x plus 2 times 3. So when they're next to each other, it means times. So if I say 3 times x plus 2 or x plus 2 times 3, it's the same. 3 times x is 3x. 3 times 2 is 6. Here it's the same. It'll be 4x plus 4y. So 4x plus 4y. Here I'll have 6 plus 3y's. And in this question, remember alphabetical order, so I need to write AB plus AC. Okay. Here alphabetical order again, DM plus DN. Okay. This is an N. And then here I'll have 7k plus 49. So that's nice. And then here I'll have k squared plus 7k. For the next question, I'm going to get p times p, which is p squared, and then 4 times p, which is, so positive 4 p's. Okay, I'm feeling pretty good about all this. Hopefully you guys are too. So here, same thing, k times l, alphabetical order, kl plus 3k. Here I'll have k times l, so again, kl minus k. And then here k times l, so kl plus 5k. Then here I'll have xy, so I can say xy minus 2x. And then here I can say ab minus 2b. So again, positive times negative is negative. Here I can say xy plus 6y. And for this question, I can say this is KL alphabetical order plus 7L. This one, careful, not ZP, PZ. PZ minus 1P, so minus P. These are getting a little bit dicier. 10XY. And then minus 3 times 5 is minus 15. And I've got a little x hanging out. And then for my last 3 questions, 2a times a is 2a squared, and then plus 2ac's. And then for this one, I can say 4k, you guessed it, squared, right? If you've done that right, then you've really understood the whole worksheet. Minus 8kl. And then for this very last one here, 2 times 3 is 6, and then x times x is x squared. So as long as you follow the recipe, you're not going to make any errors. Minus 8xy, and we are done. So I hope you managed to do it well. Make sure you separate everything, so positive or negative, and then the numbers, and then the variables in alphabetical order. Okay, so whatever I've put up top here, that's what's important. It should be first the positivity or negativity of the number, and then the numbers themselves, so they come before the variables, and then the variables in alphabetical order. Just one more thing here. If you've ever caught yourself doing this, plus, and then scratching it out and changing it into a minus, if you've ever caught yourself doing that, that means you didn't think first before you wrote whether the number was positive or negative. So to avoid this little thing here, which makes your worksheet look not so very good, then make sure that you think before you write. And you're like, oh, the number is not positive, it's negative. You need to write a minus first, and then you can like write the rest of the expression. And I've seen this a ton of times. So just to let you know, make sure that you don't make that mistake. Follow the sequence: positive, negative, numbers, variables in alphabetical order. So hopefully this was useful and it clarified your algebra for school. This is kind of step one for algebra. So of course there'll be some other videos coming out to help you with algebra expansions and things like fractions and all that, and algebraic fractions. But for now, this is a good place to start. If this was helpful, make sure you subscribe, like our channel, and follow for some more videos. And have a beautiful day at school. See you later. Bye-bye.